Midweek Premier League fixtures have been completed and Man City have closed the gap from 6 points to 4 points. How do you see the title race going so far?
Now, before now, people were thinking, "Oh, Arsenal will run away with the league," which is far from it. I actually think the Premier League game between Arsenal and Manchester City in April will be the title decider. Not necessarily by points gap, but by momentum. If the gap is within 2 to 3 points, and then Manchester City are able to beat Arsenal in that fixture, and then go level on points, I think Manchester City will win the title. However, if the gap is more than 3 points and Arsenal are able to get a result at Manchester City, say, okay, for the sake of the conversation, let's say the gap is 5 points. Arsenal get to Manchester City and then they are able to draw the fixture, maintaining the 5 points gap. I think from there, Arsenal will go on to win the title. But for now, let's just see if the fixtures will have an effect on the team, because if you ask me, I think both teams will still drop points. Arsenal will still drop points going forward, even before that tie against Manchester City. And Manchester City will still drop points going forward, even before that tie. So it remains to be seen. But for now, since the gap has reduced to 4 points, it's not a problem. It's not the end of the world for Arsenal fans. I don't know why they're being...
So do Arsenal have tough teams to play?
Yes, they do. They do, because I think they still have Chelsea to play at home. They still have to go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next weekend. And I think Manchester City still has Chelsea to play away. They still have Newcastle to play, if I'm not mistaken. I think that is the majority. And they still have Aston Villa to play. Then their final fixture of the Premier League is against Aston Villa. So we never know, but let's wait and see.
In a recent episode of the Overlap, former Tottenham coach, the big Ange, said Tottenham aren't a big club. Do you think he's right?
It's not as simple as to say aren't a big club. Yes, I feel they are a big club, but they are not run as a big club. He made a statement about where he was the coach, where there was a summer he wanted to sign, I think, about 4 players.
Yes.
To try and move from sixth, that he was, I mean, sixth, that be fifth.
Top 4. To
push them to the top 4 and possibly challenge for the title. But what they did was they were only able to bring in Dominic Solanke, and then they brought in 3 teenagers. How do you compete, knowing the level of competition in the Premier League? How do you bring in just a centre forward and then bring in 3 teenagers? 3 teenagers, yes, maybe they are good, they have bright futures, they have good potential. But bringing in 3 teenagers to come and compete with what the likes of Arsenal, Manchester City, and Liverpool and Chelsea and Manchester United have to an extent. How do you think they'll be able to compete? They will not. And he mentioned that the players he was going after then was Semenyo, Guehi, I think Eze was among the players he mentioned. So imagine Tottenham, if Tottenham were able to get those players, the current Tottenham squad, they would have been so much better than the 14th and 15th they are in. Right now they are in the relegation battle, whether they like it or not. Do you think they will now be able to compete? Or do you think they will be in a relegation battle with those players? They will not be now. So this is solely on the way the team is being run. I think they should do better. Now, if they get relegated, as an Arsenal fan, I don't have a problem. It's not my business. But I believe they are a big team, but they are not just run as a big team. That's all.
Lastly, a little bit off the pitch.
Yeah?
Former Arsenal midfielder Thomas Partey has had an additional 2 rape charges.
Yeah?
What are your thoughts? And do you think Arsenal should have suspended him when he was under investigation?
This is what I would say about Thomas Partey. Now, when he was employed by Arsenal, when he was an Arsenal player under contract, there were investigations going on. And the news, or what was given to the media, was an unnamed Premier League footballer is under investigation for 5 rape charges or thereabouts. Now, legally, he was not allowed to be named, because if you name him and then during your investigation you found out that he was not being guilty and he is not going to be charged, he has every right, after you finish the investigation, to now come and sue you for defamation of character and all sorts of things. I don't really know the legal term. But if he now comes and sues you now for defamation and the rest, he's liable to win, because you claimed, you had mentioned him, and because of that, there will be a certain stigma on him prior to when the investigation was conducted. So because he was not named during that period, Arsenal could not, and I'm sure they sought legal advice from their counsellors, that you cannot suspend him while he has not been charged. He was only charged after he had left Arsenal. That was, I think, July or thereabouts. And then when he went to court, appeared in court in September, he pled not guilty to the 5 charges. Now, additional 2 charges have been placed against him. We are not entirely sure if they are from the same women or they are from new women. But this is what I would say. We have seen this time and time again where famous footballers have had certain entanglements with women, and then at the end of the day, they are either trying to be, maybe they were being coerced to get money from, and they refuse. Those women sought out to, defame them, tarnish their image, end their football career, this and that. It has happened. It has happened to Cristiano Ronaldo. It has happened to Neymar, and recently it has happened to Benjamin Mendy of Manchester City before. Now, I think during that period, there was a time Manchester City suspended him and charged him when he was charged, but he wasn't paid. So I think after that, I think if he sued Manchester City for a certain amount of money. So I think Arsenal did the right thing by not suspending him first. If he was charged when he was an Arsenal player, then Arsenal had every right to suspend him. But for now, or as at then, since he wasn't charged, I think what Arsenal did was the best thing.
Thank you very much.